All right, what's happening? We're working with De Bello Gallico, Book 4, Chapter 25, and this is all pertaining to the invasion of Britain. Now, this first QU word is going to set up kind of sort of a relative clause, not exactly relative pronoun, and it's part of the Bray rule, where when you translate everything and you're left with a QU word, you just kind of make something up. This quote is actually referring to everything that happened in 424, everything that, Caesar saw. So, Ubi, when Caesar noticed, quote, noticed this, meaning everything. And then Caesar's our subject here for this verb, but he's also the subject for the verb all the way down there at Usit, which is far, far away. And we got a lot going on and it looks very intimidating. But it's not as bad as it looks. Alright, so if you notice the AS longest, that's accusative, and it's going with naves as well, so that's going to be our direct object. And then with usit, this verb, it usually has an infinitive, so I'm going to mark all the infinitives. And they're present passive infinitives. All right, sweet. All right, it's going to let me highlight the different clauses. So I'm going to highlight the different clauses, and hopefully this works out the way I plan it to. All right, so if we actually break it down in those little bits, we can translate those little bits. That's not bad. So, when Caesar noticed this, all right, he ordered Usit. All right, literally the long ships, but the warships. And the quorum here is going with the naves. Whose? Both appearance was, and we've got the Eeyore there, more unusual for the barbarians. And it's interesting using the word barbarians because, barbarian or foreigner, but really the foreigners are the indigenous people there, but he's calling them foreigners because they're foreign to him, even though he's the foreigner on the foreign land, which is indigenous to the ones called foreigners. Boom. And so whose motus, whose movement was faster for use. Okay, so he ordered the warships. And then you just gotta rock out your present passive infinitives to be moved back palum a little from the cargo ships All right. Then we go to the fuchsia. And to be spurred, incited by oars. All right, now to the green. And to be stationed. And then this word's neuter, third declension neuter, so this is the aperitum's modifying it. And to be stationed at the open side or flank of the enemies. Sweet, now on to the blue and the enemies propeller summary be pushed, propelled, and moved back into them by Fundis, Sagatis, Tormentis, by slings, arrows, and ballistae. So if you can break it down, it's actually not that bad because there's a pattern to it. And then the choir is referring to all of that, which thing was, and then you're going to get this double dative construction. Purpose and reference. And there's not a good way of, translating it from one to other just exactly literally, which was a great use for our men. Because heaven forbid, if you've noticed, when he uses noster, he doesn't like to use the word men with it. Alright, so there's that big chunk. Alright, so 4. Here's our nominative, and this is a perfect passive participle describing it for the barbarians. Having been moved, and we have a lot of ets. And then both by the shape of the ships, and the movement of oars and then we've got this another and, so what we could do is make up a word, troth, both, and boom. And the enunciado genere, the unusual kind of projectiles, tormentorum. Alright, so the barbarians have been moved, all that stuff. they halted, and Rachel Era is from Pharaoh, and they brought back their step or retreated. Palamoto, just a little. All right, so that's going to take on the first part of that. All right, and the next part's fairly significant in terms of, what's going on and what happens and the momentum of the battle, and we'll hit that up on the next video.